My name is Peter Milios, and today we'll be discussing constitutional rights within disaster policies. What are constitutional rights? Well, first off, the Constitution was established in 1789 between the federal and state governments and established the framework of the powers each were granted. It's been amended 27 times, but the original 10 amendments are collectively known as the Bill of Rights. So what are these enumerated constitutional rights? First is natural rights, which include the right to life, the right to liberty, essentially your First and Second Amendment rights, and the right to property, or the right to own and sell land and other physical assets and restrict their use to yourself or anyone you deem fit. Second is the right of personhood, which has also controversially been applied to corporations. And finally, we have the rights of citizens, which include the right to vote, the right to a fair trial by jury, and the right to run for office, to name a few. So when can these rights be limited? Well, under Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus, which is essentially judicial trial before being convicted of a crime, shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. And this has actually happened quite a few times, the first being before the U.S. was even a country with the Boston Tea Party, and it was mandated that Massachusetts had martial law implemented, people were put into their homes and prevented from assembling into groups. The second was the War of 1812, when Andrew Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans established martial law and even arrested a judge for disagreeing with him. Third was the American Civil War, and after the Confederate Rebellion, Abraham Lincoln established martial law and even jailed journalists who disagreed with him, limiting freedom of press. Fourth and finally, we have Pearl Harbor, in which case the Hawaiian Territory was placed under martial law once again, and the loyalty of Japanese citizens was questioned, and those of Japanese ancestry were put in internment camps, violating the 14th Amendment of equal protection under the law. Next, we have constitutional rights and natural disasters. During the San Francisco earthquake of 1906 and the Great Chicago Fire, martial law was established to quell these natural disasters as quickly as possible. Constitutional rights were violated in cases such as Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, when the Second Amendment right to bear arms was limited due to a belief that they needed to limit violence and rioting in the city. Additionally, freedom of press was also limited under First Amendment, and people were prevented from taking photographs of certain specific areas. This also occurred in the BP oil spill, when journalists were once again denied freedom of press on where and when they could take pictures. And finally, we have constitutional rights issues in regards to riots. And in these cases throughout American history, people were prevented from assembling into large groups and even denied the right to a civil trial before being convicted of a crime. And unfortunately, in the case of the Colorado Coalfield War 1914, were even killed by U.S. government troops.